Hello friends, this is Worm, contacting Destiny 2 servers, and we are going to ignore yesterday's video and go straight into another topic, which is Deepsight Harmonizers, and whether or not they should remain limited in Destiny 2. Hi friends, this is Worm. Go down there and hit that sub button, please. We do daily content like this, conversations, debates, all that stuff in Destiny, so please go down there and hit that sub button and turn on that bell notification so you never miss when I upload a video. Okay. Bye-bye. So, for those of y'all who don't know what Deepsight Harmonizers are, they are a currency that you can obtain through the Season Pass. You get 3 of them on the free pass and a total of 6 on the paid pass for your Season Pass. And they allow you to apply Deepsight to any weapon that has a pattern that you can unlock, obviously, and that doesn't have that pattern already unlocked. Right? Now, before we go any further, I want to say I do not have a formulated opinion on this, right? It's like I see why Bungie does it this way, but I also see that it might be a good thing if they actually added the ability to get more of these somehow. And we'll talk about my ideas for that in a little bit, but I wanted to talk about why they are limited and why they're so rare. And I think it boils down to the simple fact that Bungie wants us to play the game and play activities, right? Bungie wants us to play our seasons. If we have to go out and unlock all of our crafted weapons from, raids, from the season pass, from world drops, whatever weapons, we have to play and invest time into getting those. For example, the raid weapons from Crota's End, I'm still looking for the crafted version of 5 of those 6 weapons, right? This is kind of the way that Bungie gets us to play Destiny 2, right? Because I do Crota's End every single week. I make sure to get the red box. I make sure to spend spoils at the raid vendor so that I can get my red frames or my red box frames, and I can eventually get to a point where I can craft those weapons, right? But towards the end of the season, it's inevitable that, some players may not have got all the crafted weapons or all the weapon patterns unlocked that they need. In fact, a lot of players probably just have maybe 1 or 2 more, and that's where Deepsight Harmonizers come in. And this is kind of where the side of me leans towards keeping them limited, right? Because if Bungie just let us have an infinite amount of them, there would be, you could literally skip an entire season and then easily get the weapons that you want, or the patterns for the weapons that you want the following season, right? And it kind of defeats the purpose. Like, Bungie wants us to be there in the present. They don't want to lock us out. Like, obviously we can still get Season of the Deep weapons and stuff like that, but they want to make it easier to obtain these crafted weapon patterns, the season that they are currently present, right? And that's why you only get at most 6 of these Deepsight Harmonizers. And there's a ton of weapons. There are 6 raid weapons, and raid weapons obviously being a lot more difficult to obtain than the seasonal weapons. You've got the seasonal weapons, which I believe there's 6 seasonal weapons as well. You've got some other stuff. I'm sure there's other weapons, there's some exotics and stuff like that. But you have a whole host of weapons, and Bungie wants you to play the game to unlock those, and Deepsight Harmonizer would totally circumvent having to play the game, right? And that's why I think that Bungie makes them limited, and they have not said anything about making them unlimited. I know in the past they talked about, when they initially added them to the season pass, that they were just going to remain in the season pass until further notice. I really don't. This is the reason I don't see them taking them out of the season pass, because they want players to play. They want players to have to invest time into the game, and really they keep them limited so that players at the end of the season who haven't got, those 1 or 2 weapons will have an opportunity to get those weapons, right? Like, how frustrating would it be, you right at the end of the season, you need 1 or 2 more, red boxes to complete your collection, and the season ends and you don't get them. Right? Like, that's super frustrating. So Bungie has the Deepsight Harmonizer so you can say, hey, I need 1 more weapon this season, and I can just use this to get it. Or I think another reason they keep them limited is because they know that their seasons kind of get boring after about week 9 or 10. Like, Destiny 2 gets boring. Every single season we see a drop in players towards the 9th, 10th week of the season, because it's the same old. Most players have already gotten their Deepsight weapons, blah, blah, blah. And I think that this is a way for Bungie to, keep players or give veteran players, I should say, give hardcore, maybe not even hardcore, but give players that invest a lot of time into the game an easy way out so that they don't have to be made miserable by Destiny 2. Because of course, as a game developer, yeah, you want people to play your game. Like that's a huge part of being a game developer, but you also don't want people to hate your game because they are forced to play, right? And so Deepsight Harmonizers being limited is kind of one of these ways that Bungie can balance between that, right? Hey, you have to play and invest, but if you play and invest, you for sure will unlock these weapon patterns that you want, right? You will for sure be able to get all the raid weapons, all the seasonal weapons, any other weapons that you might need from the past, right? Any weapons that you might, no longer are available to obtain, like Season of the Seraph weapon, or not Season of the Seraph, Season of the Seraph weapons, the Ikilos weapons, which I know that there's the exotic rotator mission, but that's just an example. But other weapons that maybe aren't featured that you literally cannot get the pattern for anymore in any way, you could also potentially use these Deepsight Harmonizers for those as well. But that leads me to the other points that I want to talk about, which is removing that limit that you get to them. The removing the limit that you have to Deepsight Harmonizers. Now, the way that Bungie would have to go about this would be very, very carefully. Obviously, with Deepsight Harmonizers, if you could get them in like abundance, I mean, literally a week after Crota's End comes out, nobody's doing Crota's End anymore, right? Like maybe not a week, but a month after Crota's End comes out, nobody's doing Crota's End anymore, because if you just hand out Deepsight Harmonizers like candy, that's problematic, right? And like that's incredibly problematic. But I think that there is a flip side, that would help players to, they still have to play the game, but they would have a goal set, a goal to get Deepsight Harmonizers without feeling like they are just absolutely forced and crushed into playing this game, right? And that kind of leads me to the other side of the thought. Here's why I think they're limited. Here's why I don't think that they should be limited. Nice error code, by the way. So when you look at, or sorry, not when you look at, but the Deepsight Harmonizers, I think Bungie could definitely add them in, similar to maybe like the Xenealogy quest from Xur, where you can get an exotic cipher from Xur. You can get this and you can obtain Deepsight Harmonizers, right? And there's a balance that you can have between, hey, they're not limited anymore. You're not limited to just 6 a season, but they are very, very difficult to obtain. Right? Having to complete, what is it for the Xenealogy? I don't remember. Somebody tell me in the comments, but I think it's 21 or 23 Strikes, Crucible, or Gambit playlist. Whatever the ritual playlist things that you want to do, you have to do 23 of those. Let's say that you go into Crucible games where it's like 7 minutes a run. That is whatever 7 times 23 is. That's however many minutes that is. Like that's a couple of hours of time that you have to put into playing these game modes to get an exotic cipher. And then you can use your exotic cipher to buy, legendary, or not legendaries. You can buy exotics from the kiosk. You can focus exotics at Rahul. You can do a lot with these, but they take time investment to get. And I think that if Bungie were to go the route of having Deepsight oh my gosh, this is a tongue twister, Harmonizers in game, this is the way that they should go about doing it, right? They should have it so that you can pick up a quest, and do 25 strikes, whatever the number is for Xenealogy, right? You can do 23, 25 strikes or Crucible games or Gambit matches, and you will get a Deepsight Harmonizer, right? And I mean, that would be perfect. And then of course, once you have that one in your inventory, you can't get another one until you use it. Unlike exotic ciphers, Deepsight Harmonizers are capped at 1 per character. Like you can only hold 1 per account, right? You can't get, you can't hold 5 at a time like you can with exotic ciphers. Like you can only hold 1 at a time. So it kind of forces you, okay, I know that I want to get a Deepstone Crypt weapon, for example, right? I want to get a Deepstone Crypt weapon. So I'm going to go into the Deepstone Crypt raid and I'm going to get, Trusty, or I'm going to try to get Trusty. Then I'll use it on that, right? Then I can go back and I can get, another quest from the Gunsmith or something like that, to get another Deepsight Harmonizer so I can do it for another weapon. This would obviously allow players to farm Deepsight Harmonizers, but it would also incentivize players, or not incentivize, sorry, that's the wrong word. It would help players to not just instantly get everything that they want, right? Because that's one of the biggest problems with having an unlimited amount of Deepsight Harmonizers. Sorry, I was scratching my ankle, but that's the big problem with having an unlimited amount of Deepsight Harmonizers. I think that there's also, like, instead of just having unlimited, like with exotic ciphers, as long as you do your 20 whatever strikes, crucible, gambit matches, whatever, I think that there's another way Bungie could do it, and that is allow players to get one Deepsight Harmonizer per week per either character or account. Now, I don't know if I would say character, because that's going to end up being a lot. And like after one season, you're going to be caught up on basically every single, craftable weapon. But at least maybe do one per account. You pick up a quest from Banshee, you go, you do that quest, and then you obtain a Deepsight Harmonizer, right? Then you can only hold one, but every single week you can get one. Meaning in a given season, you can get 12 Deepsight Harmonizers plus the 6 that you get from the paid season pass, from the paid season pass, giving you a total of either 18 or 15 total Deepsight Harmonizers for the season, right? And the best part is this would allow this would kind of, encourage players to still play the game, right? You still got to log in, play some games, do the seasonal quests, do some strikes, and don't make it a quick hey, do 10 strikes. Like have the Deepsight Harmonizer quest, the weekly quest, tie into a little bit of everything. Hey, do 1 Nightfall, do 3 strikes, do 3 crucible matches, do 3 gambit matches, and then do a legendary lost sector, right? Or maybe not the legend lost sector, but do a lost sector or something like that. Something to encourage players to get out and play all aspects of the game, and make it about not necessarily playing like just everything every day, but having it be set up so that players will want to play, a little bit every day, right? Like I'll work on this little quest for, I'll do my 3 crucible matches today. Then tomorrow I'll do 3 strikes. Then, the next day I'll do the gambit matches, something like that. But give players a Deepsight Harmonizer once per week, and that's 18, or 15 to 18. So that's at least three weapons from whatever given season that you get for free just because you get the Deepsight Harmonizers, right? And I think that could be a way that Bungie could go about giving out Deepsight Harmonizers without breaking the economy and without breaking, the I guess the special feeling of getting these red boxes. And of course, players who go out and they farm, they can get these red boxes, right? Like this would be more in line for something or someone who doesn't have the time investment that, say, someone like you or I probably have, where, we can play for hours and hours a week. Like I put in, 30 hours a week, 30 to 40 hours a week playing Destiny, right? Like players who don't play as much can still have a way to easily obtain Deepsight Harmonizers, so especially so they can go back into maybe some old raids. Like I don't know about y'all, but it's incredibly difficult to find a Deepstone Crypt raid when it's not Deepstone Crypt farming week, right? Like I go in there and I look and it's all fresh first time runs. Like I don't know about y'all, but I don't really want to do a fresh first time run of Deepstone Crypt. Like I don't want to have to teach somebody. I'd rather go in, do a quick run on Deepstone, have the chance at getting my red boxes, and go about my day, right? So giving players the ability to just add Deepsight to whatever weapons, because once per week you can have that option. It will allow players to, hey, I don't have any of the Deepstone Crypt weapons, but if I do Deepstone Crypt 1 time a week and I get 1 gun, say Trusty, like we used in the example from a second ago, I want to do Trusty. So I'm going to go in there, I'm going to play it. I'm going to, see what weapons I get. If I get a Trusty, I can also go to the gunsmith. I can pick up a Deepsight Harmonizer. Boom. I've done the raid to get Trusty. Now I have a Deepsight Harmonizer. Now, after a bunch of extra steps, I can make my Trusty a red box, and I can extract some of the pattern progress from it, right? It would still encourage playtime in Destiny 2, the playtime of doing the raid itself, the playtime of investing into that quest or that mission or whatever to get the Deepsight Harmonizer, right? But it wouldn't kill it wouldn't kill the incentive to play the game. Now, I think another layer they could add on top of it, just for good measure, right, is when it comes to raid weapons. Now, I don't think many people are out here using their Deepsight Harmonizers on seasonal weapons, right? Like I already have 5 of the 6 seasonal weapons craftable, right? I'm literally waiting on Eleatic Principle, and that's it. Okay. But raid weapons are a different story, because raid weapons are a lot more unique and they're a lot better than seasonal weapons. Like the seasonal weapons, not that good, but man, you compare like, you know, some of the seasonal weapons to Crota's Inn weapons. Crota's Inn weapons are absolute bangers. Very, very good weapons, right? So I think another way that Bungie could just add a little bit of a little bit more, I don't want to say extra steps, but a little bit of extra, like, you know, work to put in towards these red boxes for raid weapons is, once you have a raid weapon that you want to infuse with deep sight, you still have to do deep sight like you used to, right? So for, you know, for example, in the past, if you got a red box weapon, you had to go get kills with it till you leveled up the red box. Then you could extract the deeps. You could extract the extract the pattern from it. Maybe Bungie could make it where, you know, you have Abyss Defiant. You get Abyss Defiant from Crota's Inn raid, right? Then you can apply the Deepsight Harmonizer to it and turn it into a red box. However, there's an extra step here. Instead of just instantly extracting the pattern, now you have to go back in and say complete 2 encounters from the raid, right? You have to complete at least 2 encounters. So it can be whatever encounters you want. You can do the Abyss and the Bridge. You can do the Bridge and Ear U. You can do Crota and the Abyss. Like, it doesn't matter, but you have to complete 2 raid encounters before you can actually extract that pattern progress. Like, that's just a little bit more, you know, that says, hey, like, you know, you need to at least be semi okay with doing this raid activity, so, you know, to get these weapons. Because I think that the reality is, anybody can do a raid one time, get, you know, some of the guns from it, go to that raid and get the solo chest. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, every single raid in Destiny currently, you know, maybe with the exception of Crota's Inn, but I think even Crota's Inn, I think you can get that first chest there solo. At any rate, every single raid you can go in and get a solo chest. And like, I think that kind of like takes away from the specialty of having red boxes, because it doesn't require you to actually do the activity, you know. Make players have to complete activities, and not just like get kills either. Like, because I thought about that too. Like, what if, you know, you go in and get kills, but say like a raid like Crota's Inn, right? You can literally stand there at the start and just farm Thrall, you know, or Deepstone. You know, you go out into that blizzard and you stop at the first place or the second place, the second bubble, and just farm the stuff that spawns there. Like, I think that actually completing the encounter should give you progress towards unlocking that as a deep sight, you know. So basically, it would require you to complete the raid twice to extract, or to apply one pattern to it and extract that pattern. But yeah, I don't know. Like, we've kind of talked for a long time about Deepsight Harmonizers and whatnot, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. I've said a lot today. Again, I still don't know where I'm at. Like, on one hand, I think that it's good that they're limited, but on another hand, I think that it would also be good if they were not limited, but there was some stipulations to it. But of course, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Like, what do you think about Deepsight Harmonizers being limited? Do you like it? Do you not like it? How do you feel about the ideas I have presented to you today? Do you think they're good ideas? Do you think they're bad ideas? Let me hear your thoughts and stuff in the comments. Of course, if you liked today's video, drop a like. It helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content and conversations such as this one. Also, we do debates here apparently now. And yeah, that's it for me, guys. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye for now, guys.